Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
This is the 9 p.m. news telecast of the prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. A very warm welcome to the national news. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
A very good evening to you. I'm Charita Vinipurarachi, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news. The Supreme Court rules that the draft bill to repeal the entitlements of presidents can be impeached with a simple majority in the Parliament. 43 countries support Sri Lanka at the Human Rights Council. Cabinet spokesman says that the country is marching forward, safeguarding human rights. Footages released of the Indonesian operation to trap Kehel Badra Padme and the gang. Additional grants of 6,000 million rupees for renovation of rural roads. Al bus accident caused due to a brake failure. The Russian cancer vaccine forwarded for the approval of the World Health Organization. Nepali Prime Minister resigns amidst protests. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top story. Speaker Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne informed the Parliament today that the draft bill to repeal the entitlements of presidents can be impeached with a simple majority in the Parliament.
The Supreme Court has also informed that any provision of the draft bill is not in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The draft bill to repeal the entitlements of former presidents, which was presented in the Parliament by the government, has been challenged in the Supreme Court as per 121(1) clause of the Constitution. The hearing of the petition ended on the 25th of August this year. After considering the facts at length, the three-member Supreme Court judges ordered that the secret conclusion regarding constitutional validity of it will be forwarded to the Speaker of the Parliament. Accordingly, the Speaker informed the Parliament today those conclusions forwarded by the Supreme Court. The Speaker emphasized that the petition filed regarding this draft bill has been rejected by the Supreme Court since the petitioner has failed to request judicial power as per the compulsory provisions of 121(1) clause of the Constitution. As per the draft bill, a certain residence or monthly allowance provided to a former president or a widow of a president can be removed. The monthly allowance, transport or other facilities paid to a former president or a widow of a president is also due to be removed.
43 countries have expressed their view in support of Sri Lanka at the opening session of the UN Human Rights Council yesterday. And at the opening session expressing the Sri Lanka stance, Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Herath said that the Sri Lankan government is totally against any external human rights mechanism that disrupts Sri Lanka's reconciliation process.
Comments on the High Commissioner's report, and I wish to address some of the matters raised in it. Our anti-corruption drive has been strengthened with new legislation enabling independent investigations and prosecutions leading to landmark convictions. The government is in the process of repealing the PTA and introducing new counter-terrorism legislation. Amendments are being formulated through consultations to the Online Safety Act. The government continues to strengthen the domestic reconciliation mechanisms by guaranteeing their independence and the necessary financial and human resources allocations. Further consultations are underway with a view to establishing a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to prepare a national policy and action plan on reconciliation and coexistence. The government has issued instructions to law enforcement authorities to guarantee and enabling environment and sufficient space for civil society. People from all parts of the country memorialize their loved ones without any hindrance. In line with the government's vision and commitment for a reconciled Sri Lanka, a Sri Lanka Day is to be celebrated in the first week of December. Views of the general public and the National Human Rights Commission have been called for the establishment of an independent public prosecutor's office. Mr. President, the Attorney General would prefer indictments only if there is a prima facie case against an accused, and as such, the negative portrayal of the AG's office in the report does not stand to reason. The prosecutorial discretion of the Attorney General is not an unfettered power and is subject to the full force of judicial review. The reference to the amended Personal Data Protection Act in the report is erroneous, as the proposed revisions are not related to exemptions as indicated. The government is committed to advancing accountability through credible domestic processes. Recent decisions by the Sri Lankan courts demonstrate the independence of the Sri Lankan judiciary. The government has afforded full independence to the police, and investigations have been resumed into many long-standing cases, including the Easter Sunday attacks and attacks against journalists. A large majority of lands have been released. Adequate compensation is paid to rightful owners where release is not possible. A cabinet-appointed committee is addressing competing claims and land issues faced by people living in areas identified as state reserves and places of archaeological significance. To build confidence among the public, the government is taking several initiatives, including opening of road infrastructure, development, livelihood support, and promotion of industries. Legislation is being formulated to increase wages in the plantation sector, while over 5,000 houses are to be handed over shortly. A bill introducing a right-centered approach to persons with disabilities is to be presented to the Parliament soon. Sri Lanka has continued to engage constructively with this Council, OHCHR, as well as with the regular human rights mechanisms. Developments within less than a year clearly demonstrate our genuine commitment and determination to protect and promote the rights and well-being of all Sri Lankans through our domestic processes. Therefore, the government is opposed to any external mechanism imposed on us, such as the Sri Lanka Accountability Project, which serves to create divisions and complicate the national reconciliation process underway in Sri Lanka. We are committed to working towards a country that respects and celebrates the diversity of its people in line with our domestic legal framework. The government will continue to work in close cooperation with the international community through capacity building and technical assistance in mutually agreed areas to further strengthen these efforts. We urge this Council to take note of the progress made within a short period. We seek your continued support to provide us the time and space that is required to make use of this historic opportunity to advance the rights and well-being of Sri Lankans through national processes.
The groups have displayed placards against Sri Lanka before the Human Rights Council building this year as well. Sri Lanka expressed their dissatisfaction towards these groups and commended the current government's reconciliation process. The UN Human Rights Council session will conclude.
As the President of the UNHRC said today, this is an historic opportunity for the new government to find a resolution to this long-standing problem in Sri Lanka. We urge the Sri Lankan government to carry out its duty, as the Foreign Minister today stated in the Council, that it will be a domestic solution and using domestic mechanisms to resolve this problem once and for all humanity in Sri Lanka.
The UN Human Rights Council session will conclude on the 8th of October.
Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa says that a budget focused on development will be presented for the next year by the government. The minister also stated at the media briefing here today that the cabinet has approved the proposal made by the president to present the appropriation draft bill in the parliament for the financial year 2026. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that the budget to be presented in November will be a development-oriented one. Requests have been made via a number of ministries for programs to stabilize the economy for necessary provisions. Grants will be allocated for those provisions from the budget. 2,000 vehicles will have to be purchased, new required for government officials. The The Cabinet has given its green light to appoint a committee for the national energy policy and for the issuance of guidelines. The committee consists of 6 veterans in this field. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that necessary action is being taken to initiate 6 companies owned by the government, 100% as per the 2025 number 14 Sri Lanka Electricity Amendment Act. Already 4 government companies have been registered regarding main activities such as generation of electricity, transmission, system control and distribution. Steps are also being taken to include employees of the Electricity Board as per their wish for these 4 companies. The unwilling employees to join the 4 government companies under the Treasury Secretary have been provided with the opportunity to resign after obtaining a maximum compensation up to 5 million rupees. Trade unions should be happy since the government has allocated this to 4 state companies without offering it to companies owned by the previous government. The minister pointed out that the Electricity Board has to be restructured and the energy sector has to be converted into a profit-making entity. The consumers should be provided with electricity at a low price. A concession also has been provided in the electricity bill in order to enable maintain industries with a profit for investors and industrialists. These companies have been established based on all these aspects. The cabinet spokesman pointed out that the country is marching forward safeguarding human rights. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa observed that the country was in an extremely tensed condition when the session of the human rights in Geneva was held. The International Committee has appreciated the action taken against corruption, national reconciliation and unity along with safeguarding human rights. The impartiality, independence and the trust of the judiciary system is increasing now. The country has entered into a proper path to create a reconciliation and communal harmony within the country. All main communities are being represented within the government. A number of progressive steps have been taken for the benefit of the entire nation, which have come under the observation of the international community. All these have been possible since the government is mediating to provide necessary facilities to operate the state mechanism in order to inspect occasions of violating human rights and to confirm the trust the people have in the judiciary. The justifiable solution can be obtained within a local mechanism, the minister pointed out. The minister also confirmed that details about organised criminals and those politicians connected with drug trafficking will also be revealed in the future. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa pointed out that 2 persons taken into custody at Midvenia connected with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have been accused regarding chemicals used in the production of ice, narcotic and firearms. The SLPP has accepted the allegations and has taken action to terminate the membership of 1 member out of the 2. Although the party membership was not abolished when former parliamentarians were in custody by that party, the membership has been terminated on this occasion. This is not sufficient. The person called Sampath Manamperi has been a police constable and was also in the intelligence division. He has been identified as an abettor in the assassination of parliamentarian Ravi Raj. He was granted SLPP membership as a candidate despite this situation. The SLPP can hand over the person to the police according to the minister.
And meanwhile, the passing of the proposal regarding the agreement between Sri Lanka and the United Arab Emirates was passed in the Parliament with a special majority today. 163 votes were received in favour, while no vote was cast against. The debate in this regard was held in the Parliament today. Deputy Minister Anil Jayanta said that although the United Arab Emirates is keen on business and investment in Sri Lanka has minus balance due to more imports than exports. Under the UAE exports classification, Sri Lanka is at the 7th position. In import sector, it is at the 3rd place. Therefore, the new agreement will help to minimize this gap.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that over 300,000 Sri Lankans work in the UAE at present. Through such agreements, Sri Lanka will be able to strengthen its economy and trade relations with the UAE. It will also create an environment to confirm the security of the Sri Lankan migrant workers in the UAE.
Parliamentarian Rohita Abeygunawardena says the main factor to establish investments in Sri Lanka is a public servants. However, they are scared to take decisions at present. NPP parliamentarian said that for the first time in the history, a background has been created for the government servants to work according to their conscience.
කිසිම තීන්දුවක් මෙතෙක්කල් විශේෂයෙන්ම ජාතික ජනබලවේගයේ ආණ්ඩුව යටතේ ප්‍රශ්න කිරීමක් කරලා නැහැ. දැන් ඔබතුමාලගේ
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa said that as an investment, Sri Lanka has received only a factory that produces narcotics. The government is attempting to show that Rajapaksas are behind the entire organised crime network. Minister Mahinda Jayasinghe said that no one spoke about this matter. The person who are talking about this subject are the organised criminals. An investigation is being carried out regarding this narcotic factory. SLPP member Sampath Manamperi has gone missing. His party membership has been suspended in haste. However, when Nimal Lanka was caught with narcotics, Mahinda Rajapaksa blocked his arrest. His party membership was not suspended at that time. When a parliamentarian was caught with a stock of narcotics, Gotabaya Rajapaksa released him. Drug dealers were within the government. Makandure Mardush was brought to the country in 2019. In 2020, he was shot dead in a mission to seize a stock of narcotics. What happened to billions of assets belonged to Mardush? He had served relevant raid names on 80 politicians connected to drug smuggling. The former government had hidden such information, and however, these criminals will not face such fate. The politicians related to the drug smuggling will be revealed according to the statements made by them.
දුබායි ඉඳලා කිව්ව මදුෂ් කියනකොට සංදර්ශන දැම්මේ නැහැ. සංදර්ශන දැම්මේ නැහැ තමයි මොකද සංදර්ශන නොදා මදුෂ් හොරෙන්ම ගේන්න පුළුවන් නම් තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති. 2020 ඔක්තෝබර් 19 ඒ මදුෂ් මාලිගත්ත ප්‍රදේශයේදී මද්ද්‍රව්‍ය පෙන්වන්න නැත්නම් ගිහිල්ලා නාදුරුන් තුවක්කු කරුවෙක් වෙඩි තියලා මරා දානවා. මදුෂ් සතුව තිබුණු සියලු රහත් වල දානවා. අපි අහනවා කෝ මදුෂ් ළඟ තිබුණ රුපියල් කෝටි 1000කට වැඩිය ඒ වත්කම් කෝ මදුෂ් ප්‍රකාශ කරයි කියලා කියනවා. මේ ජාවාරම් වලට සම්බන්ධ දේශපාලන 80 දෙනෙක්ගේ නම් ටික ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ විසින් එයාගේ බාප්පා විසින් යටපත් කරනවා සංගවනවා. අදටත් ඒව රහසක්. එහෙමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ රහ තැඟෙව්වේ. පද්මෙට ඒ ඉරණම අත්තුලේ නැත්තේ ඇයි කියලා කල්පනා කරනවා ඇති. නෑ පද්මෙට ඉරණමත් වෙන්නේ නෑ. ඒ නිසා පද්මෙලා එළියට දාන වමාරණ දේවල් එක්ක හෙට දවසේ කාගේ පැතිකිරිය රටට හෙළිදරව් වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා තමයි කලබල වෙලයි වංචා දූෂණ එක්ස්පයර් වෙන්නේ නෑ. මේගොල්ලෝ කුඩු අයිස් පාත්.
Minister Vimal Ratnayake said that while maintaining drug smuggling and underworld activities, the opposition is now attempting to show this case as a plan of the government. The opposition leader is trying to put the blame to two controversial containers of the government, and these attempts will be totally rejected.
The Sri Lanka Customs says that 213,500 vehicles, including motorcycles, have been imported to the country during the month of September up to yesterday. At a media briefing here today, Customs media spokesman Chandana Punjaheva said that the Customs has released vehicles amounting to 314 billion rupees. Customs media spokesman Chandana Punjaheva said that import of vehicles to Sri Lanka has been stopped for about 5 years. The government allowed to import vehicles for private use from the 1st of February this year. At first, the government agrees to spend $1.5 billion. However, the amount has exceeded $2 billion at present. By yesterday, 213,500 vehicles have been imported to the country. The customs has released vehicles amounting to a sum of 314 billion rupees, or approximately $1 billion. The government has earned 446 million rupees as tax in the importation of vehicles.
And meanwhile, the video footages of the operation that trapped criminals including Kehel Badarapadme in Indonesia have been released. The group of criminals Manitu Padmasiri alias Kehel Badarapadme, Commando Salinda alias Salinda Nirmala Prasanga alias Blackho Saman, Nilanga Pereira alias Panadure Nilanga, and Lahiru Madhushan alias Thambili Lahiru were taken into custody by a special operation in Jakarta, Indonesia recently. Since there is no power for a Sri Lankan police officer to arrest a suspect in overseas, the relevant operation has been implemented only by giving required guidance. Accordingly, the Indonesian police completed the mission. The newly released video footages show how the criminals Kehel Badarapadme and Panaduru Niranga were taken into custody when they were coming out of their luxury apartments. The video shows how the police officers came with the arrested two suspects to the apartment using the elevator and arrested the rest of the suspects.
We're gonna check the ID, everyone here, okay? You? No, you see.
The government has agreed to borrow $100 million from the World Bank to finance the implementation of the Integrated Urban Development and Climate Resilience Project. The Ministry of Finance announces that the relevant agreement was signed by Dr. Harshna Surya Peruma, Secretary to the Treasury and Country Director of the World Bank, David Sislin, on behalf of the World Bank. The aim of this project is to strengthen the agricultural sector that contributes nearly 7% of the country's gross domestic production. The other aims of the project is to improve food security, enhance productivity of the farmers of selected areas, competitiveness and integrated urban development and climate resilience project. The entire cost of the project is $120 million. Out of the amount, $100 million are provided by the World Bank. The rest will be supplied as $3 million from local funds and $17 million by the contribution of beneficiaries. These projects will also focus attention to enhance market relations and competitiveness. They also encourage partnerships among farmers, buyers and state institutions.
A group of motor vehicle examiners of the Motor Traffic Department today inspected the bus that met with an accident along the Ella Vellavai main road on the 4th of this month. The inspection was held at the Ella police station. They have confirmed that a failure in the brake system of the bus has caused the accident. Motor vehicle examiners from several provinces of the island participated in this inspection. It is also expected to get instructions from the Range Rover company to check the camera system of the Range Rover vehicle connected to the accident. The government senior assistant analyst YWMSB Bandara also inspected the ill-fated bus today.
The Colombo Magistrates Court ordered today to release former Minister Rajat Senaratne, who was in custody regarding the corruption allegation, on 3 personal bails of 2 million rupees and a bail of 50,000 rupees. The magistrate stating that foreign travel of the suspect will be banned and ordering it to be informed to the Controller of Immigration and Emigration, also ordered to deposit the passport of the suspect with the court. The Colombo magistrate also ordered to release former Minister Rajat Senaratne after considering facts presented by both parties. The case will be taken up for hearing on the 30th of January. The Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanka S. Bodragama today ordered to wind up the case being taken up in the Colombo Magistrates Court, since a case has been filed in the same court against former Minister Kehele Rambukwala and family members under allegations of preventing money laundering. Accordingly, the magistrate also ordered the defendants to be present in the High Court on the stipulated dates. The Northern Crime Investigation Division of Western Province today informed the Colombo Magistrates Court that Bako Saman and Thamili Rahiru, who were taken into custody in Indonesia and repatriated, are being interrogated under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The magistrate ordered the police to present the progress of these investigations on the 10th of December. The revised bail application filed by former Minister of State Prasanna Ranavira, who is in custody under allegations of selling a government-owned land by preparing fraudulent deeds, was taken up today in the presence of Gampa High Court Judge Justice W.K.D. Vijayaratna. The consideration of the expected granting of bail has been deferred until the 22nd of this month.
A memorandum of understanding was signed today for the supply of medical equipment and the construction of the Accidents and Emergency Treatment Unit of the District General Hospital in Mana. The MOU was signed between the governments of India and Sri Lanka. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed between Minister Dr. Nalinda Jatisa and the High Commissioner of India in Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, at the Ministry of Health and Mass Media. Accordingly, the Government of India will spend an amount of 600 million rupees for the project. The project aimed at strengthening the relations between the two countries will be completed in 3 years. The contribution of the Government of India has been received as per the request made by the Government of Sri Lanka to purchase equipment essential for the Accidents and Emergency Treatment Unit of the District General Hospital in Mana. Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Mass Media consultant Dr. Anil Jaisinghe and a number of officials attended the event. The government has paid attention regarding the present health services of the Trincomalee district in Eastern Province. Accordingly, steps will be taken to provide a MRI machine to the district by January next year, and Minister Dr. Nalinda Jathis pointed out. The minister was engaged in an inspection tour in Trincomalee district in order to find out the progress of health services in the district. A discussion was also held with the health and hospital chief of the district. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jathis said that it will be past and mid-November when the ministry will be able to distribute medicines and equipment necessary for the hospitals. They have been provided after the negotiations with the Government of India and other governments. Although the tender has not been granted, they have been unable to supply the necessary quantities of medicine since the suppliers are not capable of it since the tender has been granted. A discussion has been held with the President in order to bring about changes in the procurement process, and in case of the lowest bidder is unable to supply the process has to be started from the beginning, which will take about 9 months. An answer is being searched in this regard, the minister added. Stay tuned with more local news after this break.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back. We continue with more news from home. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuri says that it is important to create a new generation that is capable of seeking solutions to global challenges and transforming the world.
She made these remarks joining the national program to introduce 100 new young inventor clubs into the school system organized by the Ministry of Science and Technology. The opening ceremony was held yesterday at the auditorium of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. At this event, the official commencement of establishing the school Young Inventor Clubs was symbolically marked by the presenting innovation tokens to 9 schools representing all provinces of the country. Key topics discussed during the event include the potential contribution of innovation promotion to the national economy, opportunities and challenges in school-based innovation, the role of teachers in establishing school Young Inventor Clubs, and the importance of obtaining patents for invention was also discussed. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuri said that the country does not merely a generation that knows about data, and it needs a generation with the creative intelligence to question the accuracy and reliability of that data, to see the things differently and to use information to change the world. The country wants people with curiosity about the world, people who can think outside the box, looking at the things in a new way and pursuing knowledge, information and data with a purpose.
The Cabinet has approved to allocate additional grants to the tune of 6,000 million rupees for the program to renovate rural roads and to develop them. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jathis stated this joining the media briefing in order to announce Cabinet decisions today.
An amount of 14,000 million rupees has been allocated by the budget this year in order to improve rural roads and bridges. The overall value of projects implemented island-wide is nearly 26 billion rupees. Accordingly, the Cabinet approval has been granted for the Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Ministry to manage grants allocated to it as additional grants. The proposal was presented by Minister Bimal Ratnayaka. Plots of land are to be allocated for 38 investment projects out of 42 project proposals recommended by the Project Evaluation Committee of the Ministry of Industries and Entrepreneurship Development. Accordingly, those investors will be allocated with plots of land from industrial estates with a maximum lease basis of 35 years. The overall value of investments is more than 2,548 million rupees, which will generate 1,559 direct employments. The relevant proposal was presented to the Cabinet by Minister Sunil Handurnetti. The Cabinet approved the construction of water purification centre with a capacity of 5,000 cubic metres per day for the Avisavela water supply scheme. Minister Anura Karunatilaka presented the proposal in order to award the related contract to the bidder. Plans are afoot to restart from this year the President's Media Award ceremony, organized continuously until 2019 annually with the objective of encouraging media persons. This is based on the creations pertaining to 2023. Accordingly, the President's Media Award ceremony will be held on the 11th of November. The Cabinet has given its approval to increase the prize award for the winners up to 100,000 rupees and the lifetime award to 400,000 rupees. The proposal was put forth by Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jathis. Steps have been taken to provide financial and other assistance to the sportspersons who will participate in the Olympic Games in future and for sportspersons with extraordinary skills. The concerned proposal has been presented by Minister Sunil Kumar Gamage, enabling the program to implement the Olympic Operation Program. Under this program, local and foreign sportspersons will be directed towards training. The country annually incurs a loss of 2% of gross domestic product due to the climatic changes. As such, nearly $500 million has to be invested by the government annually in order to develop environment-resistant infrastructure facilities. The Sri Lanka National Environmental Finance Strategy 2025-2030 has been formulated with contributions from 35 state institutions with the assistance of the United Nations Development Programme. The Cabinet approved the proposal forwarded by President Anurukumar Dissanayake in order to implement those financial strategies and to announce it. Approval has been granted by the Cabinet to print 40% of the school textbooks required for the year 2026 from the Government Printing Corporation. In addition, 27.12 million copies should be printed from the 366 types of textbooks. Accordingly, bids have been invited following the National Competitive Procurement Procedure, and 29 printing institutions have forwarded their bids for the purpose. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya to print 25.49 million copies from 362 types of textbooks at the cost of 3,491.47 million rupees based on the recommendations of the High-Level Standing Procurement Committee. The Development Lotteries Board has invited the bids under the National Competitive Procurement Procedure for the creation, development, printing and supply of computerized lottery tickets. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Anurukumar Dissanayake to award the relevant procurements to the lowest responsive bidders based on the recommendations of the High-Level Procurement Committee for a period of 1 year. 33 ongoing development projects in the health institutions have been suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent economic crisis. It has been identified that total cost estimates and project timelines of the 17 projects need to be revised due to the suspension of the projects before they can be resumed, and the increase in the cost of construction materials and labour due to the inflation. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa and to amend the total cost estimates of the aforementioned projects and extend the project duration based on the recommendations of the High-Level Standing Procurement Committee. And meanwhile, Russia has announced a new cancer vaccine called Enteromix, which showed 100% success in early trials with patients with colorectal cancer, so their tumors shrinking without serious side effects. Scientists say the vaccine use of mRNA technology similar to COVID-19 vaccines to train the body to fight cancer cells. Each vaccine is personalized for the patient based on their tumor's genetic makeup, making it safer than the chemotherapy. The early trials involved 48 volunteers and were conducted by Russia's National Medical Research Radiological Center together with the Molecular Biology Institute. Officials said that the vaccine is now close to approval by Russia's health authorities, and experts noted that if larger trials confirm the results, Enteromix could change cancer treatment worldwide, giving patients more effective and targeted therapy with fewer side effects. Stay tuned with international news after this break. Welcome back with your foreign update. And Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned amidst escalating anti-corruption protests. Protesters and all set for two parts of the Parliament building, prompting the Nepali army to urge young demonstrators to show restraint.
The army said it will address the nation later tonight. Sharma Oli said he stepped down to pave the way for a constitutional solution to the crisis. The protests, driven mainly by Gen Z youth, began over a social media ban that was later reversed, but quickly grew into wider anger over corruption and political nepotism. Officials confirmed that 2 people died today, bringing the total death to death toll to 21 since yesterday, while nearly 90 others are being treated in hospital. The unrest has turned violent, with protesters attacking the residences KP Sharma Oli, former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Devu and Maoist leader Pushpa Kamal Dahal. Now, the first match of the Asia Cup cricket tournament is being played at present between Afghanistan and Hong Kong teams.
The tournament started today in the UAE and ends on the 28th of this month. 8 teams participate in the tournament, and preliminary matches are being held under 2 segments as A and B. India, Pakistan, Oman and the UAE play under A group, while Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Hong Kong and Sri Lanka compete under B group. The Sri Lanka's first match will be played on the 13th of this month in Abu Dhabi against Bangladesh, and the match is scheduled to start at 8 p.m. Sri Lankan time. The second match of Sri Lanka in the preliminary round is set against Hong Kong team on the 15th of this month, while the third match will be played on the 19th in Afghanistan against.
And that's all the news we have for you tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on ChannelEye. I'm Lanka, together with Charita, signing off. Good night.
Have a pleasant night.